let's talk about something that comes up a lot. Unrealistic expectations in memory care, dementia care communities. As someone who was a dementia care director for many years, I ran into this frequently. It's actually a chapter in a couple of my books about how memory care is not, taking care of somebody with dementia is not a science, right? I find occasionally that families will sometimes feel like, oh, I'm going to move my loved one into dementia care and the memory care community is going to essentially fix everything, right? That the person's going to improve. Or sometimes that we are doing rehabilitation for people living with dementia that isn't really necessary or effective. Like, ooh, I really want my mom to be walking up and down the hallway. Now, it is important that people continue to do things as much as they can for as long as they can to keep their health up, right? However, there have been many instances that I've seen and heard from, other people where someone's health has declined to a point where them, for example, walking in the hallway is no longer safe or makes sense. Maybe that person really should be in a wheelchair and should not be walking, even with a two-person assist, even with a person on each side. It just doesn't make sense anymore. And I've had families really push for it. Well, I really, really want mom walking. I don't want her to decline. The reality is dementia continues to cause decline even though we are fighting against it, right? And at some point you have to begin to weigh, does this really make sense for this person anymore? And at what cost are we continuing to implement whatever this is? I encourage you that if you're considering to move a loved one into a memory care community, please read one or a couple of my books. Please look at some of the free resources I have on my site, maybe my e-kit about transitioning someone into a dementia care community. I really walk you through the pieces here, and I know it's a really hard transition to make. I also just want to make sure if you are a family moving somebody in, that you go into it with realistic expectations. Now, I don't want you to have your loved one living in a community that's doing a terrible job. And they do exist. So if you feel like the community is doing a terrible job, like it always smells, it's never super clean, the staff is rude, they're doing zero activities, these are problems, right? But I want you just to keep in mind that caring for somebody living with dementia or just caring for somebody in general is not a perfect science. There are going to be challenges, there are going to be issues, and to go into it with as much of an open mind as you can and try to have open and honest conversations with the team at your loved one's community as much as possible. Keep those lines of communication positive and keep them open. I hope you found this helpful. If you have specific questions, please comment below, and I'd love to try to help you work through some of these things. Thanks.